Hello jurors and welcome to the Court of Cowls. My name is Cody and I want to welcome you to the flagship episode of a brand new show we like to call Under the Cowl. Here we'll take a peek at the mysterious origins, the over-the-top exploits, and the swanky gadgets and gizmos used by our favorite heroes to combat evil and protect the citizens of their fair cities. Except for Gotham. That place is dirty. For our first peek under the cowl, we've chosen one of the most well-known and beloved icons in all of comic book history, Wonder Woman. Who is she? What does she stand for? Where does she come from? All these answers and more await you under the cowl. First things first, Wonder Woman was originally created by a psychologist named William Moulton Marsden. Incidentally, he also created the polygraph test as well as giving Wonder Woman her own portable lie detector. Wonder Woman burst onto the comic book scene in 1941 on the cover of All-Star Comics number 8. Comic books had never seen anything like her. Here was a woman who wasn't the damsel in distress, but the hero of the story. While it's true that in the early issues there are some crazy bondage ideas, the icon that is Wonder Woman has grown exponentially beyond that point. And she stands now as a beacon of strength, grace, femininity, and a role model for girls around the world. Wonder Woman's first origin story, the original origin story if you will, begins on Paradise Island, also known as Themyscira, but more on that in a bit. Wonder Woman's mother is Hippolyta, queen of the Amazons, and the Amazons are a race of warrior women who live a life of seclusion away from the world of man. Now Hippolyta, she was instructed by some of the gods in the Greek pantheon to craft a daughter out of the sandy clay on the shores of Paradise Island. Those same Greek deities then bonded a soul to the clay daughter that Hippolyta had made, and thus Diana was born. These Greek gods and goddesses granted special boons to Diana. Demeter gifted great strength, Athena wisdom and courage, Artemis the hunter's heart and the ability to commune with animals, Aphrodite beauty and a loving heart, Hestia granted sisterhood with fire, and Hermes gave her speed and the power of flight. Hippolyta loved Diana and swore to protect her from the destructive influences of man. One can only live in seclusion for so long though, and Diana met her very first man when Army pilot Steve Trevor crash-landed his plane on Paradise Island. Hippolyta quickly made plans to have Trevor removed from the island, and she implemented an Olympic-style challenge to the Amazon, the winner of which would receive the right to escort Trevor back to his world. Diana secretly joined the contest and won, which is not something Hippolyta saw coming. The Amazonian queen was bound by her word, however, and gifted Diana with the golden lasso of truth, indestructible bracelets, and a uniform forged from Hephaestus himself. Upon her victory, Diana returned Trevor to the world of men, only to find the world was embroiled with World War II. Disgusted with the violence she saw around her and believing that she could help to bring peace to the man's world, she decided to become the Amazon's ambassador to men. It was during this time as ambassador that Wonder Woman met some of the heroes of man's world, the Justice Society of America. Fun fact, she was inducted into the JSA shortly thereafter, but only as their secretary. With that, Wonder Woman grew into her own legend and now stands shoulder to shoulder with Batman and Superman as the holy trinity of the DC universe. Wonder Woman's second and more modern origin story sees her as the demigoddess daughter of Hippolyta and Zeus. Diana has all the same powers, only in this particular origin, the powers are natural, not gifted by the gods. Another significant change saw Wonder Woman overthrow her longtime enemy Ares and become the new god of war. Wonder Woman's powers are relatively straightforward on the surface. She has super strength and she can fly. She is relatively invulnerable as a result of her supernatural armor, and the wisdom of Athena makes her a master strategist. She's also an accomplished martial artist, a philosopher, and speaks multiple languages. Another notable power of hers is her compassion and leadership. Some of the biggest highlights of her career have seen her win wars with her fist, but also knowing when to drop her weapons and sacrifice her guard to show her desire for peace. At one point, she even bested Darkseid by submitting a piece of her soul to him, which ultimately made him just a bit compassionate himself. Wonder Woman doesn't have your typical superhero arsenal. Her most well-known and effective weapon is the Lariat of Hestia, but you may know it as the Lasso of Truth. Anyone bound by the lasso will reveal his or her perceived truth, whether they are completely willing to or not. While that particular upgrade is useful, Wonder Woman can just as easily use the lasso to swing enemies into brick walls, which she does often, and to great effect. Wonder Woman also wears a pair of indestructible bracelets forged from the remnants of the Aegis of Athena, a nigh-indestructible shield that Athena awarded her champions throughout the millennia. Not only can Wonder Woman stop weapon fire with these bracelets, she can slam them together and create a concussive force strong enough to make Superman's ears bleed. Originally, these were dubbed the bracelets of submission, and Wonder Woman would lose her super strength if a man bound the bracelets together with a chain. This idea of man being able to subdue Wonder Woman by tying her up was part of that weird bondage stuff we talked about earlier, and the idea eventually fell by the wayside. Wonder Woman's uniform also functions as armor. It may look like a star-spangled leotard, but it's bulletproof, which is a handy asset during wartime or when busting street-level thugs. Two other recent additions to Wonder Woman's arsenal are her sword and shield, also forged by the gods. Wonder Woman is not known for her extensive rogues gallery. The enemies that she does have, though, are major threats. Her first and most notable enemy throughout her 70 years of comic greatness is Ares, the Greek god of war. Ares first appeared in Wonder Woman #1 in the summer of 1942. In issue #2, however, his moniker changed to the Roman form Mars, and he was known as Mars until 1987 when his original name was reinstated. After delivering Steve Trevor home, her efforts of bringing peace to man's world have been consistently challenged by Ares, who thrives on conflict and sows discord wherever he goes. Being a deity, Ares is able to control the minds and actions of men. He's imbued with supernatural strength and speed, and he is impervious to any natural attempt to stop him. While he is vulnerable to Wonder Woman's arsenal, Ares' command of weaponry and martial arts make him a formidable hand-to-hand combatant. Being a god, however, Ares isn't necessarily on the battlefield, often preferring to control the tide of war from afar, and his defeat usually comes as a result of his own hubris and Wonder Woman's cunning. It is rare for Wonder Woman to defeat Ares in a hand-to-hand slugfest, though she often outthinks him. Another of Wonder Woman's oldest enemies is the Cheetah. Cheetah has had 4 different incarnations since 1942, but the most well-known version of the character is likely the archaeologist Dr. Barbara Minerva, who first appeared in Wonder Woman Volume 2, number 7. Dr. Minerva grew up in Nottinghamshire, heirs to a vast fortune. As an archaeologist, Dr. Minerva became obsessed with a tribe in Africa that protected itself with a female guardian, imbued with the powers of the cheetah. After the tribe's guardian was killed by marauders, Dr. Minerva usurps the cheetah's powers, hoping for immortality. Unfortunately, the immortality comes at a high price, and Dr. Minerva is transformed into a sort of werecat. She experiences extreme pain and physical disability when in her human form, and a bloodlust and drug-like euphoria when in her cheetah form. Cheetah first encountered Wonder Woman when she attempted to steal the golden lasso of truth. Wonder Woman did not actually defeat Cheetah in their first battle, as one of Wonder Woman's allies shot Cheetah, forcing her to retreat. After this first contest, Cheetah has continued to torment Wonder Woman in an effort to prove herself the better and stronger combatant. Dr. Poison is another of Wonder Woman's first villains. She first appeared in Sensation Comics #2 in 1942. Dr. Poison, the alter identity of Princess Meru, is a Nazi spy who specializes in poisoning her victims. Originally, she wore bulky clothing to conceal her gender, and she quickly rose through the ranks of the Nazi hierarchy to become one of their chief spies. When Wonder Woman first encountered Dr. Poison, she was engineering a poison that she called Reverso, which she planned to put into the US Army's water supply, thus making the soldiers attack each other instead of the Nazi opponents. Wonder Woman foiled her plot and imprisoned her, but Dr. Poison escaped and went to work in the Pacific this time. In later years, the mantle of Dr. Poison has been taken up by the granddaughter of Princess Meru and joined up with a secret society of supervillains. You can't talk about Wonder Woman without talking about her impact on pop culture. Wonder Woman burst onto a male-dominated landscape in the winter of 1941. She was the first woman to carry her own title, she was a female character able to take care of herself, and she paved the way for all strong female characters in comics. Characters like Black Canary, Jean Grey, and Black Widow owe a debt to Wonder Woman. The cutting edge of women's rights and feminism were often portrayed in the pages of Wonder Woman comics, and in 2016, Wonder Woman was named an honorary ambassador of women in the UN. It's only appropriate given the impact she has had in the last 7 decades. Wonder Woman is also a pioneer leading women in comic book movies as well. In a movie landscape dominated by male superheroes, Wonder Woman will again be the first woman to burst into the boys' club. As you can tell, we here at the Court of Cowls see Wonder Woman as the patriarch of female superheroes. If you need further proof, just consider the fact that a comic series with only Batman and Superman is titled Batman Superman. But when Wonder Woman shows up, that's when the title changes to the Justice League. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments, hit that like button, don't forget to hit that wonderful subscribe button, and thanks for watching this inaugural episode of Under the Cowl. So until next time, court is adjourned.